We start with one of the biggest headlines from across the Lone Star State this afternoon. A major shakeup for one of the largest school districts in Texas. The Texas Education Agency is taking over Fort Worth ISD, bringing in new leadership, TEA leaders say, to get the district back on the right track. Bud Kennedy with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram is joining us live this afternoon to talk more about the state's decision and what's next. Bud, thank you so much for being here with us.
Hello, Ashley.
You know, let's start by telling us about some of the problems Fort Worth ISD was having.
You know, there's been about 10 years of decline. Ashley, 30 years ago when I started writing columns in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, Fort Worth was considered a peer district with Austin, about the same. The SAT scores were 100 points better than Dallas's. Now they're 100 points worse. Dallas and Houston have gone through some education reform. They've made improvements. Dallas has made remarkable improvements with the support of the business community. Fort Worth has fallen further and further behind. 60–70% of the districts, not performing. Kids not up to reading level at all. Under a series of leadership teams, the district has just continued to slide.
Wow. And what do people blame for that, Bud, right? Like, what is it a lack of resources? Because the city is certainly growing and the city is going through sort of a revitalization.
I think it's just been a lack of focus and a lack of rigor on the part of the district. The school boards have been very fractured, very factional, and have disagreed on a lot of things. There's been a lot of push-pull over who to have a superintendent. And, well, you've got that leadership team. Let's get this leadership team. Obviously, the reading theories are one of the most important things in the school district. They've changed those several times. And, there's a lack of focus, particularly on schools, on the east side of Fort Worth. If you know about East Austin, East Fort Worth sometimes doesn't get the resources and attention. I think that's one thing that has made the minority community interested in this school takeover. They feel like maybe that too much of the resources and attention go to one pyramid in a middle-class district west of 35. In Fort Worth, it's Pascal. It's as if you were in Austin, and Austin High got all the attention and the best teachers. And some of the other schools feel like that now they'll get a better chance.
Yeah. Any intel on why the TEA decided to really move forward with the takeover plan instead of perhaps a turnaround plan, like what we're seeing Austin go through now with its having, failing campuses and having to submit turnaround plans. We know it was such a big deal for the TEA to take over Houston ISD. Any idea why they decided to go ahead and move forward with another big school district takeover?
I think this is a very voluntary takeover on the part of Fort Worth. Leaders here were almost begging TEA to come in. Mayor Parker, who led a reading partnership before she became mayor, has been concerned from the very beginning. She's talked about the need to raise the level of education in Fort Worth. Fort Worth has never had an education mindset. That's changing now with the giant Texas A&M campus here, and they need to pick up the school district. Mayor Parker led a study for the whole city council to study all the schools in the city, not just those in Fort Worth ISD, but in all the suburban districts, and look at the quality of reading, the quality of performance, and said that Fort Worth needs to work harder everywhere to improve education.
Talk to us about next steps. What's going to happen next with Fort Worth ISD and the state takeover, timeline-wise?
Well, I think we have next we have the applications for the Board of Managers. Mike Marath has said that he will review applicants for superintendent, and in this case, they may choose to keep the current superintendent who's been in place leading the last ditch reform over the last year. I think that they've tried their best the last year to stay out of trouble. He may keep the superintendent, but the leaders here in the council want something done. They want something done now. You have schools where kids have not been learning for 4 or 5 years. They don't want kids to go all the way through a school without ever really learning.
Yeah, certainly interesting, something we know that you will be watching and keeping us informed on. Bud Kennedy with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.